Hi guys, so every week I upload a video called Fool of the Week. Unfortunately, as soon as I upload the video Fool of the Week, the very next video I see on YouTube or on Twitter is a bigger Fool of the Week. Now this is Bernard Jenkin, who's going to talk about the Northern Ireland border, the border on the island of Ireland, and how the EU was just being difficult. Let's hear what he had to say.
The border I was referring to was, of course, the border between North and South.
Yes, but now we have a situation where there's effectively another border.
The border between North and South, we were proposing alternative means of dealing with that border, and those...
What he's referring to here, of course, is Jacob Rees-Mogg's famous electronic border. The idea, well, we can scan number plates on lorries. Isn't that enough? There's no need for a hard border. We can have an electronic border. And there's a solution. Okay, and when we asked Jacob Rees-Mogg 2 years ago, do you have a working model that we can use? No. But there are other countries that have borders and they don't have problems. And he pointed to Norway and Sweden. Norway and Sweden have about 11 border crossings. There are 300 between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. Now, even if you were to have this electronic border, how would it work? You could scan number plates, but a number plate scanning machine can't see what's inside a lorry, inside a truck, inside the trailer, can't see what's inside the boxes within the trailer, can't see what's inside the packaging within those boxes. It can't identify whether these products have met a particular standard or not. So what sort of border system is this guy talking about? It was dismissed at the time as insanity, as pie in the sky. We actually asked Brexiteers like him, please show us a working model that we could use in Northern Ireland. And they came back with zero, nothing.
Those alternative means of dealing with that border become more and more available as technology develops.
More and more available as technology develops. We're probably 10 or maybe more years away from that type of technology. But if you wanted to have that, then why not say, let's stay within the single market and the customs union until that technology has been developed, and then we'll have our Brexit. No, they said, let's have our Brexit before the technology is developed. But they're trying to sell you the idea of some sort of technology. Makes absolutely no sense.
Nevertheless, the Republic of Ireland, the European Commission were absolutely obsessed with this border, and we now see...
They were obsessed with the border. This guy has no understanding of the Good Friday Agreement. He has no understanding of Northern Ireland. I don't know where he lives. He probably lives... actually, it says here, North Essex. I know North Essex is not very close to Northern Ireland, but surely he would have some understanding, as being a politician for that amount of time, some understanding of Northern Ireland. Obviously, he has zero understanding. He has probably as much understanding of Northern Ireland as he does of North Korea.
They should have given equal concern to the other border they've created down the Irish Sea.
That they created. They created. This is extremely frustrating to listen to. The fact that he's not been challenged on this. That they created. Did the EU vote for Brexit? No, they didn't. Did the Republic of Ireland vote for Brexit? No, they didn't. Did the majority of people in Northern Ireland vote for Brexit? No, they didn't. Who voted for Brexit? Well, the UK voted for Brexit. So when it came to putting a border, it was the UK's responsibility. Now, it was meant to be agreed with the European Union. Where do we put the border? Well, we can put the border in the Irish Sea, we can put the border on the island of Ireland, or we can put the border... we'll have no border, we can have the UK as a whole within the single market and the customs union. But Bernard didn't want the latter, of course, and other Brexiteers didn't want that, so the border had to go somewhere. They wanted to put it on the island of Ireland. And they were presenting a pie-in-the-sky solution, a non-working solution. So the alternative is a border in the Irish Sea. I don't know why this is so difficult to understand.
Now, it's
but
not...
What you seemed to be saying at the time was that the border's not really an issue.
No, well, I think it could have been resolved much more easily. I do think the European Union used it as a bargaining tool. As a bargaining tool?
A bargaining tool for what? The European Union didn't want any of this. The European Union didn't want Brexit. They had to go along with it. They respected the UK vote. How is this the EU using Northern Ireland as a bargaining chip? You decided. Boris Johnson agreed to this. Boris Johnson said at one stage, I will never put a border in the Irish Sea. I will not put a hard border on the island of Ireland. So what was the alternative? The alternative, the logical alternative, was the UK as a whole within the single market and the customs union, but Boris Johnson didn't want that either. You can't blame the EU for this. You created this problem.
But the point is, we have. It's not Brexit that's causing the problem. First,
it's not Brexit. It's not the fire that's burning our house down. It's the fire extinguisher. That's the response from Brexiteers. The protocol is the problem, not Brexit. There was no problem with the border until Brexit came along. How can you dismiss Brexit as the problem here? Brexit is the elephant in the room here. And the people are trying to talk about other things like the protocol is the problem and what the EU wants is the problem and the alignment is the problem. No, Brexit is the problem here. There was no problem until Brexit came along.
First of all, let's just remember, nothing justifies the violence we're seeing, and everybody should condemn the violence. But there's no doubt that there is well, can I just make the point? There's a grievance about the border down the Irish Sea.
There's a grievance about the border down the Irish Sea. Then why did Boris Johnson, your boss, lie to these people? Why didn't he come out and say, look, guys, sorry, unionists, the border has to go somewhere? Why wasn't he honest with them? He has an 80-seat majority. He could dictate, terms to them. He could come out and say to them, look, guys, I'm sorry, we had to put the border somewhere. If we put it on the island of Ireland, there's going to be a breach of the Good Friday Agreement. And this government has signed up to it. The UK as a country has signed up to the Good Friday Agreement. So we're not going to break that. So the alternative is two others. The alternative is to have the border on the Irish Sea or the UK as a whole within the single market or the customs union. But if I do the latter, Brexiteers within my party will be angry. So I'm sorry, you're just going to have to stick it out and you're going to have to take the border in the Irish Sea.
Which is much more intensive and requiring, there are 5 times more checks on the trade crossing between GB and Northern Ireland than there is in all the trade that crosses into the European Union.
Yes, because what is wrong with this man? Does he not understand that Northern Ireland is part of the customs union? The single market, sorry. Northern Ireland is part of the single market. That's why there are less checks between... What planet is this man on? And
the degree of compliance required is so intense because of the rules that have been set. And let's face it, some of
these rules were set by the UK when it was a member of the European Union. Now you're complaining about these rules. Like, what is wrong with these people? Truly, they're complaining about rules that they were part of writing. These rules were not made up as soon as the UK left the European Union. These rules have always existed.
The rules the European Union is insisting that we impose, like washing the soil off tractors that are being exported.
What he's talking about here is some years ago, there was an outbreak of foot and mouth disease. And in order to protect the island of Ireland, checks were carried out on vehicles and people themselves. People had to wash their feet as they moved from one building to the other. It was in order to control the spread. Now, I don't know specifically the reason why they're washing tractor tires. It could be because they want to protect Ireland from parasites or something. I don't know. But this is a requirement. This was something that the UK was part of. You can't complain about these restrictions now.
Second-hand tractors, or banning the sale of shellfish, which was perfectly safe to transport before we left the Europe.
Now he's been dishonest. I truly believe he's been dishonest here because surely he understands why shellfish are not being imported anymore. Because the UK is a third country. You decided to become a third country, then you can't export the shellfish into the EU. Because they're exported to be cleaned. they can't be exported to be cleaned now because the UK is a third country. Now, either Bernard doesn't know this, or he's pretending not to know. And I don't know which is worse.
European Union, and is now suddenly terribly dangerous. The answer is we should try and make the protocol work, if we possibly can, by making it more reasonable and more practical. But if we're all agreeing that this isn't working very well, then we should replace the protocol with something else. But
who's all agreeing? We should replace with something else. Like what? An electronic border? The one that you invented, you pulled out of your behind, or maybe you pulled out of Jacob Rees-Mogg's behind some years ago. These people have no ideas. These people understand nothing about Northern Ireland, and they know nothing about the technology required in order to do the things that they claim they want to do. All they have left is, let's blame the EU. Let's blame the EU for Brexit. Let's blame the EU for what's happening in Northern Ireland, because we don't want to take responsibility for it. We created this problem, but we want somebody else to fix it. It seems the typical Tory mentality. We created a problem, somebody else fix it. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?